Hello.
Good morning, sir. Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning. Good morning.
হ্যাঁ, শোনা যাচ্ছে স্যার?
হ্যাঁ, আমি শুনতে পাচ্ছি। তুমি পাচ্ছ? তুমি পাচ্ছ?
হ্যাঁ, শুনতে পাচ্ছি।
হ্যাঁ, আমি পাচ্ছি। আমি পাচ্ছি। ওকে, ওকে।
ভিসি স্যার, আপনি একটু আনমিউট করুন। আনমিউট। ভিসি স্যার, প্লিজ আনমিউট। ভিসি স্যার, প্লিজ আনমিউট। ভিসি স্যার, প্লিজ আনমিউট। করুণাশিস স্যার, ডিআরএফ স্যার, শোনা যাচ্ছে?
স্যার, হ্যাঁ, শুনতে পাচ্ছি। শুনতে পাচ্ছি। ওকে, ওকে।
হ্যাঁ, ওকে, ওকে স্যার। টেস্ট করছি। কে? মিউট হচ্ছে না। কোথায় এরকম নিচের দিকে আনবেন?
I'm requesting all the participants except the
VC sir, please unmute. Please unmute your microphone. VC sir, please unmute your microphone. VC sir, please unmute your microphone.
মুসলিমা বুঝলে তোকে লিঙ্কটা পাঠাচ্ছি, হ্যাঁ চেক করিস যদি ইউটিউব থেকে কোনো সন্দেহ ড্রেস করে বুঝতে পারবি।
So we will start now. A very good morning to all the participants. A very good morning to all the participants, officials of the university, eminent speakers, ladies and gentlemen. I, on behalf of the organizing committee, welcome you all to the national webinar on capture fisheries in post-pandemic COVID-19 situation, environmental and economic perspectives. Now, we will inaugurate the program with virtual lighting of ceremonial lamp and our prayer to Almighty God to bless us with the ray of knowledge.
गुरुत्वं कल्याणम् आरोग्यं धनसम्पदः शुभं गुरुत्वं कल्याणम् आरोग्यं धनसम्पदः शत्रुबुद्धिविनाशाय दीपज्योतिर्नमोऽस्तु ते दीपज्योतिर्नमोऽस्तु ते दीपज्योतिर्परब्रह्म दीपज्योतिर्जनार्दनः दीपज्योतिर्परब्रह्म दीपज्योतिर्जनार्दनः दीपो हरतु मे पापम् सन्ध्यादीपनमोऽस्तु ते दीपब्रह्मरूपस्थम् ज्योतिषां प्रभुरव्ययः दीपब्रह्म.
Now, I am requesting Ms. Olivia বিশ্বাস, coordinator of the webinar and assistant professor, Department of Fishery Engineering, West Bengal University of Animal and Fishery Sciences, to briefly describe about the webinar.
Good morning. Welcome to everybody and greetings from Faculty of Fishery Sciences, West Bengal University of Animal and Fishery Science, Kolkata. The COVID-19 pandemic can be regarded as the global emergency. It has gained notoriety as the world's fastest disease outbreak that turns into a pandemic. Barring lifestyle elements, no other contemporary disease or infection has ever gripped the globe at this speed in current memory. It has forced over half of the world's population into an involuntary lockdown and brought nations and their economy into their knees. 9 months plus into the pandemic, the world is yet to even imagine a recovery. It is an epoch making event that is and will be fundamentally changing the world's order and the way we exist in consonance with nature. A new world order. From political and economic ideologies to natural resource extraction to global trade and performance of development schemes, COVID 19 has impacted all over the existential coordinates. One might refer to it as the new normal and argue inevitability and its acceptance. In this context, our fishery science is not beyond the reach of this disaster. The role of the science on GDP, livelihood, and food safety and security is known to all, recognized and established. About 9 million fishermen are directly involved with capture fisheries in India. During the period of COVID 19, the people's desire and aspiration are more pronounced on this area as it is directly attached to a very important aspect of human existence. The role of fish as an immune booster and immune modulator through its various nutritional components is matter of importance. Besides, the impact of COVID on environment, water pollution, transit of human population through aquatic routes, diminution of catch and bycatch, and most importantly, using such improved water resources in a sustainable way in post-pandemic era are issues before the fishery scientists for development of capture fishery, etc. In view of this scenario, we are privileged to organize a national webinar on capture fisheries in post-pandemic COVID-19 situation, environmental and economic perspectives. To get an insight of the above theme from various aspects, the following topics shall be addressed holistically by the honorable speakers in the following order. Fish as an affordable source of quality animal proteins to fight protein hunger and boost immunity under COVID-19 pandemic. Our nutrition economics perspectives by Dr. B.P. Mohanty sir, ADG, Inland Fishery, ICAR. Impact of pandemic COVID-19 on capture fisheries and management strategies for sustainable development by Dr. Latha Shenoy ma'am, former principal scientist, CIFE, Mumbai. Indian marine fisheries sector perspectives and paradigms by Dr. Sam Selim sir, principal scientist, CMFRM, Kochi. Visualizing COVID-19 post-pandemic scientific research in fisheries, a scientometrics analysis by Dr. Ranjit Lakshmanan sir, scientist, CMFRI, Thuthukudi Center, Tamil Nadu. Today, we are delighted to have with us 231 registered participants. This program will be streamed through Google Meet and as well as go live on YouTube also. This program is an initiative of the Department of Fishery Economics and Statistics, Faculty of Fishery Science, West Bengal University of Animal and Fishery Science, Kolkata. I, on behalf of the organizing committee, extend my gratitude to all the concerned university authorities, distinguished speakers, participants, and the members of the organizing committee to make this event a possible one. We fervently solicit the cooperation from everybody. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Olivia Vishas. With this background, now I am requesting the chairman of this webinar, Professor Soman Sahu, Head, Department of Fishery Economics and Statistics, to present his welcome address.
नहि कश्चित् बीजानाति किमकस्य भविष्यति अतस्य करणीयानि कुर्यादैव बुद्धिमानः. Very good morning and greetings to one and all. It gives me immense warmth and great pleasure to grace all your presence on behalf of the Department of Fishery Economics and Statistics, Faculty of Fishery Sciences, West Bengal University of Animal and Fishery Sciences, Kolkata. I welcome you all to this webinar and would like to convey my heartfelt gratitude to the Honorable Vice Chancellor Professor Chanchal Guho, DRA Professor Arunasis Goswami, Registrar Dr. Saurabh Chandra, Dean of the Faculty, Professor Bipul Kumar Das, and other concerned of my university for providing the necessary support to organizing the webinar. I am also honored to welcome our esteemed eminent speakers and would like to take this opportunity to thank them for accepting the invitation and sparing their valuable time in addressing the theme, which bears immense importance at this juncture of global disorder as far as social, environmental, and economic considerations are taken into account. Today, we are privileged to have with us Dr. B.P. Mohanty, Assistant Director General, Inland Fisheries, Indian Council of Agricultural Research, New Delhi. Dr. Lata Sinha, former Principal Scientist, ICR, Central Institute of Fisheries Education, Mumbai. Dr. Sam S. Salim, Principal Scientist, ICAR, Central Marine Fisheries Research Institute, Cochin. Dr. L. Ranjit, Scientist, ICAR, Central Marine Fisheries Research Institute, Tuticorin Research Center. The economic impact of COVID-19 pandemic has caused unprecedented damage to the world, and India is no exception to it. It is evident that for the first time in many decades, India's economy will contract significantly. Moreover, India being a developing economy, the deleterious impact of an economic contraction will be deep-rooted, especially for the poor. As a remedy to contain the spread of diseases, unprecedented lockdown measures are being taken worldwide to fight against the pandemic. The implications of such stalled economic activities stretched over a period of 3 to 4 months will undoubtedly be dreadful for the poor and vulnerable living in developing countries. It is estimated that economic fallout of the COVID-19 pandemic could plunge more than 500 million people into poverty, with communities in sub-Saharan Africa, North Africa, and the Middle East expected to suffer the most. The impact of this global health crisis and ultimately the economic crisis will disproportionately affect global food supply chains, resulting in a looming food crisis, food and nutrition security, jobs, livelihoods, and reverse progress on gender equality on many levels and potential social unrest, with serious socio-economic consequences will become inevitable. In the microsphere of economy, fish and other aquatic foods are a key part of our global food systems and are the major sources of protein security. Disruptions in supply chains for fish and aquatic foods are already happening due to disruptions in transportation, trade, and labor. Falling production from reduced fishing efforts and delayed stocking of aquaculture systems will lead to lower supply, access, and consumption of these foods. Decreased consumer demand and increased consumption costs will have a knock-on effect and will push the price of fish and aquatic foods up and make them less affordable for poor consumers. Many people employed in these supply chains, such as fish vendors, processors, suppliers, or transport workers, will lose their jobs. Still, every cloud has a silver lining to it. Even though the negative consequences have been beyond apprehension, the positive impact of the lockdowns will definitely go a long way in bringing a change in the environmental and ecological scenario of the capture fisheries sector. Governments, decision makers, donors, and private sector investors the world over will need to be guided by sound and decisive measures in a fast-track manner, analyzing the knowledge to understand the severity and complexity of these issues. They have to formulate appropriate responses in terms of concrete policy and actions that work fast and will be sustaining. Inspired by the quote, "Knowledge shared is knowledge squared," the webinar will certainly throw light and brush upon a spectrum of issues on different aspects of capture fisheries in post-pandemic COVID-19 situation, environmental and economic perspectives. Lastly, I would like to thank all my committee members and all other associated with the program for making this event a possible one under such dire conditions of lockdown. Pandemism has caused a global mayhem, disrupting normal life, stalling economic activities, and the worst of all, claiming lives of many among those afflicted of it and of those who formed the frontline COVID warriors. Recalling the past, on this day in 1963, history stands witness to the famous civil rights movement in Washington, D.C., championed by Martin Luther King Jr., campaigning for jobs and freedom with the famous slogan, I have a dream. This gathering will no wonder be a window to vent our sorrows in this moment of global grief, as shared is double joy and shared your sorrow is half sorrow. Thank you all. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for the welcome address. We are fortunate enough to have with us Honorable Vice Chancellor, West Bengal University of Animal and Fishery Sciences, who is also the chief patron of today's webinar, Professor Chanchal Guha. I am requesting sir to say a few words. Sir, please unmute your microphone, sir. Due to some technical problems, sir has left the meeting. So now I am requesting. We are also delighted to that our patron of this today's webinar, the Director of Research, Extension and Farms of the West Bengal University of Animal and Fishery Sciences, Professor Arunachal Goswami is also with us. I am requesting him to kindly address the participants.
Hello, good morning everybody. So I am audible to everybody?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah. Actually, Vice Chancellor sir is there, so we should wait at least for 1 or 2 minutes. I think some technical problem might be there. Did you ring him for the problem?
Yes, sir. Once some problem is there, sir. Sir has again joined, so.
Okay, so let him say some fast. Vice Chancellor sir is there.
Okay, sir. Okay. Sir, Vice Chancellor sir, please unmute your microphone, sir. One option will be there on the screen, sir.
Sir, Vice Chancellor sir, please unmute your microphone, sir. Left side. Okay, sir. Audible.
So, good morning to everybody, and particularly Dr. Sahu and our Dr. Goswami, this our Director of Research Extension Farm, and the other dignitaries. Now, this is a very, very important situation. At the same time, this is an important topic what you have been selected by Professor Sahu, that is the capture fisheries in post-COVID, but post-COVID-19 situation, particularly in relation to this environment and the economic perspective. Now we know these capture fisheries are the integral to food security and the functioning of social and economic system. But the system is that, particularly the fisheries, it has a tremendous importance in relation to this economy. At the same time, it causes about this more than 14 million people of this employment of this profession. At the same time, I must mention here that this particular the fisheries is really not only these fisheries on all the aspects, all the sectors are severely affected by this this pandemic, this COVID-19. Still, the selection of the topic is very, very important because it is very much related with this COVID situation at the present situation, what is happening globally. Now, I must tell that something about this importance of this captured fisheries, particularly these Bengali people, they are very much fond of these fishes. And not only the importance of these fishes, but also it has a very tremendous this nutritional aspect, that is a protein, the source of protein, it's source of the different minerals like this iron, this iodine, this calcium, zinc, and these vitamins like this vitamin and the vitamin B complex and this vitamin A. At the same time, it is very much important for the health aspect of the particularly these infant, children, growing people, at the same time the pregnant lady. So, but this situation, right now, the situation is very, very dangerous in relation to the availability of the fisheries because it has a tremendous this negative impact on the fisheries, this community as a whole, and the capture fisheries in particular. But it has some positive aspect that it causes or it reduces this fishing this pressure, as well as it reduces this anthropogenic, this pollution, what is happening normally in normal situation. But this is the right moment for the scientists to revive this state, as because now it is almost this situation is free from the pollution. So this fisheries faculty or this fisheries scientists, they can take sufficient care who can prevent such type of further pollution of this environment, as well as this aquatic cultures or aquatic situations, which can improve the development of the fisheries faculties. So I think this webinar will very helpful and useful for the participants, as well as the scientists who are concerned with this profession, with these different valuable lectures of the different this eminent scientist, that is Dr. B.P. this Mahantis, this ADG, this inland fisheries ICAR, that then there's the Lata Senoy, that the scientist ICAR, and the other these dignitaries are the learned speakers who will deliver their lecture. And I think with this lecture will give or will helps to derive some important the aspect which will help to develop or to improve the economy in relation to the fisheries. At the same time, this environmental may be the susceptible for the development or to prevent the help to the sustainability of the fisheries, in particularly in Indian situation in captured fisheries. With these few words, I must conclude here, and I hope this webinar will give a very positive impact on the capture fisheries, particularly in this Indian situation in post-COVID pandemic situation. Thank you all.
Thank you, sir, for addressing the background and relevance of today's webinar. Now I will request the patron of today's webinar, the Director of Research, Extension and Farms, West Bengal University of Animal and Fishery Sciences, and also he is also the patron of today's webinar, Professor Onassis Goswami. Sir, please address the participants.
Good morning, everybody. So, Honorable Vice Chancellor, West Bengal University of Animal and Fishery Science, Professor Chanchal Guho, Honorable Assistant Director General ICAR, Dr. Bimal Mahanti, Honorable Dean of the Faculty, Professor D.K. Das, Registrar of the University, Dr. Saurabh Chandra, and the Chairman of this webinar, Professor Shomen Sahu, and the other dignitaries who have joined in this platform as speaker, as spectators. So everybody, I want to convey my sincere thanks for organizing such type of national webinar during this situation. So first of all, on my personal behalf, I want to convey my sincere thanks to Professor Sahu. He is the chairman of this webinar. Because of the reason, not only that he has organized this type of webinar, it is a very need-felt webinar, but also for the reason that his combination of the speakers and his combinations of the team worker coordinators, it is the combination, what I have seen, it is the combination of the experience and expertise, the senior men along with the freshers. Olipriya and Sutonu were there, and at the same time Professor Sahu was there. So this combination, and according likewise in the speakers list which I have seen, Professor Bimal Mahanti, ADG, Honorable ADG, was the alumni of the IDRI. I know him personally. He is there, and at the same time, young, fresh speakers are also there. So it is a very new dimension. It is a very good thinking to combine the fresher along with the expertise, experienced person. This is number one. Number two, what I want to name that fishery faculty under the able leadership of the Dean of the Faculty, Professor Shomen Sahu, what he has done today, it is a very excellent job. I want to convey my sincere thanks to him. Fishery is having the value, the economic value, economic contribution to the GDP of the country. It is obvious, everybody knows it. So there is no question. But things are that the topic which have been selected for this seminar, that's webinar, the post-COVID pandemic situation. but which I want to request all of you, especially those are the speakers, learned speakers, because we don't know when it will be the post. Still, it is continuing. Last day in our country, the infection was around more than 75,000. So, during when we will discuss, we have to keep it in mind not only the post, but also the during this situation, this time. Because in our one seminar of the fishery faculty previously, one fish farmer, he told that in other way, the COVID-19, it is better for them. I am not telling in favor of COVID-19. But things are that his logic was there, as due to the COVID pandemic, all the transportations are closed, locked down, the local market of the local fishes, they have gained their, they could earn more money from the local fishes, especially in the Tarai zone or the North Bengal, that it is the feelings of the fish farmers. So keeping in this view, all sorts of things which we have to think a plan in this webinar among these learned experienced speakers, what sort of direction, what sort of policy we can make, not only the post-COVID, post-COVID, but also the during this time, how the fish farmer, not only the fish farmer, fish retailer, fish processor, and giving more emphasis those who are our distant migrant persons, how they can be absorbed with this fish farming system in respect of their employment generation. Because this is a very vital point, not only for our state, but it is a vital issue for the whole country, especially during this post-COVID scenario. So these sort of things, I think whatever we'll discuss these 2 or 3 hours during this webinar, the glimpses what will be coming, that we have to take, that we have to disseminate for our original stakeholder, those who are living in our rural area, for their economic upliftment. So that is 2 parts. One is we have to take the policy, we have to gather the experience from the learned speakers, and second part is we have to disseminate this technology, transfer this technology during and post for both COVID pandemic, for the betterment of the economic betterment, social betterment, political betterment, and their others as a whole, total betterment for the stakeholder of our state and country as a whole. So the learned speakers are there. They will tell in details. The 4 speakers are there. We'll come to conclusion at the end. I think Sutonu will take some part that some resolutions, proceedings will come, so that we can go ahead with the help of our experts, not from our faculty, our university, but from the others. Honorable ADG side is there. We can take the help of the ICAR, also Government of India, so that as a whole we can shoulder the responsibility. Being the man engaged in fishery science, we can do something for our stakeholder, for their economic and social development of the country as a whole. So with these few things, with the good wishes of this webinar, I want to conclude my speech. Thank you. Thanks once again.
In the context of Professor Ornasis Goswami, I can add one single sentence. Globally, so many statisticians are involved in the prediction modeling of COVID-19 post-pandemic and the during pandemic seasons. And this is for because I am a statistics people, so I can say one thing. It is a cubic curve. Cubic curve y equal to a plus bt plus ct square and dt cube, and at basis of time what is happening, that is the number of fresh cases are huge. So I am just adding these things for the information of the gathering. Next.
One second. So one
Yes,
thing,
brother, one second.
yeah, yes, hello.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Sir,
Sir,
sir.
please.
Actually,
Yes,
yeah,
yes.
actually, I want to leave this meeting as because I have some this other job. So I think you all will successfully complete this program. Will get the outcomes which will help for the next future. Okay, thank you all.
Thank you, sir.
Okay,
Thank you,
thank
sir,
you,
for
sir.
your valuable time.
Okay.
Now, now I am requesting another patron of today's webinar and the leader of the Faculty of Fisheries Sciences, Dean Professor D.K. Das, to say few words. Sir, please.
Good morning, everybody. Honorable Vice Chancellor, Director of Research Extension Farms, Registered of Control of Examinations, Dean of the Faculty of Fishery Science, other faculties of the universities, registers, and eminent speakers, Dr. B.P. Mohanty, ADG Inland Fisheries, ICA New Delhi, Dr. Lata Shenoy, former principal scientist, IC at CIP, Mumbai. Dr. Sham Salim, principal scientist, IC at CFRI, Cochin. And Dr. I. Ranjit, scientist, IC at CFRI, Thoothukudi. And my fellow participants. At first, I thank to the chairman of the webinar to give me the opportunity to share my views in front of the huge gathering. As you know that we are passing a very critical moment. The whole world is struggling against the COVID-19 pandemic. Till date, there is not a single dependable solution in our hand. The whole world are waiting for an effective and dependable corona vaccine to save the human civilization. The movements and functions of lives are virtually standalone and closed in the four walls. Local and transboundary transportation systems are collapsed. All local and retail markets, hotels, restaurants, and are closed. Export and import of perishable goods are not possible. All major agricultural, industrial operations are virtually closed. In this critical situation, organization a webinar on capture fisheries in post-COVID-19 pandemic situation, environment and economic perspective is a right choice. I thanks to the chairman of the organizing committee. Naturally, the capture fisheries are suffering a lot as the fishermen have stopped their fishing due to continuous and partial lockdown imposed by the central government and the state government. The, the whole world is facing an acute economic recession. Thousands of people are afraid to lose their jobs. Thousands of migrant workers are already jobless and are suffering from acute economic crisis. Healthcare and testing facilities are not sufficient to attend all the patients. Every day, the number of infected people breaks is previous records. Numerous doctors, nurses, or health care workers are seriously affected by COVID-19. Still, we hope that we are able to save our civilization at any cost and the situation will be normal very soon. Until and unless we get any right solution of this disease, we have to struggle for living and try to adapt with the prevailing situation. Life cannot be stopped. However, among all the all the inabilities and threats, and threats, until we get a right solution of this disease, we have to struggle for living and to try adapt in the prevailing situation. Life cannot be stopped. However, among all these inabilities and threats, some positive outcomes cannot be ignored. The level of the air pollution drastically reduced in all the metropolitan cities of the world. Million tons of fossil fuels are saving as all types of mechanical vehicles are not flying since March 2020. The water quality of the Ganga, Jamuna, Brahmaputra river systems are remarkably improved. We also learned a lesson from the COVID-19 pandemic that we cannot ignore or destruct our environment for the sake of the development as per our wish. Development cannot be stopped, but it should be sustainable and eco-friendly. Once again, I convey my best wishes to the organizers, the participants for their efforts and joining in the webinar, and I wishes the grand success of this seminar. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, sir, for your relevant words. I also convey my sincere thanks to DRF sir for his guiding words. Now I will request another patron of today's webinar and the registrar of the West Bengal University of Animal and Fishery Sciences to address the participants. Sir, please. Registrar sir, please unmute, sir.
Hello?
Sir, now it is audible, sir.
Hello? Audible, audible, audible. Audible. Register sir, audible. You are audible.
Sir, it is audible, sir. Sir, it is audible, sir. You can speak, sir.
Not audible.
Audible, sir. Audible. It is okay, sir.
Audible?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I cannot hear anything.
But you are audible, sir.
We are listening to you. We are listening. It is audible. It is audible. Yes, sir.
You are audible,
audible?
sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, yes sir. Yes, sir.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, audible.
So, good morning, President Honorable Vice Chancellor Sir, respected ADG ICR Inland Fisheries, Dr. Mohanty, eminent speakers, DREF, Controller of Exam, Dean of the Faculty, Dr. Shomen Shao, other teachers, students and other audience present here. We all know that capture fisheries, all kind of harvesting of naturally occurring living resources in both marine and freshwater environments. We all know capture fisheries is carried out in the sea, rivers, reservoirs, etc. Capture fisheries is thus bearing or environmental disruptions, which is obviously an outcome of pandemic like COVID-19. Though lockdown, etc. are having some beneficial effects on environment, still Indian population is, we know, majorly depend fisheries for food security, especially in West Bengal scenario. In pandemic situation, fishing activities is certainly decreased. As a result, employment would decrease and export-import to be decreased, leading to adverse socio-economic impact, especially in small-scale fishery facilities. Not only that, national economy is thus getting affected badly, causing loss of huge government revenues. Supply chain and value chain in fishery sector is disrupted due to physical measures like lockdown. The main impacts are in relation to loss of markets in both domestic and international price fluctuation causing economic uncertainty, labor migration due to their home, lockdown measures, closures of borders, slowdown in restaurant trade, market demand, closure of wet markets and provision of equipment and supplies. These are the impacts. Therefore, we should think something to overcome. Regional fisheries bodies, RFBs, have an important role in contributing to fisheries management and scientific research of many important fisheries around the world. Levels of monitoring, control and surveillance of fishing activities need to be maintained to ensure effective management here. Conservation and management measures in relation to exploitation of fisheries resources and associated activities should be strengthened. Government advices time to time coming up and technical decision making deeply trusted in this situation. Many of those involved in fisheries and aquaculture and valuables are in informal sector, making it challenging to access government support. Adequate coverage of the fisheries and aquaculture sector, including informal workers, should be provided. Though revenue generation is dwindling, various support systems, different types of support systems are there. Those helps capital markets function can bring real benefit to fisher folk without having a negative impact on fishing effort on capacity building. So our mission should be work together, act together. And upholding with this slogan, we will definitely bring positive impacts in capture fisheries in post-COVID scenario. With these few words, grand success of this webinar. Thank you. Thank you all.
Thank you, sir, for highlighting the relevance of the today's program. Now it is the time to hear from the eminent speakers. We will start with the presentation of Dr. B.P. Mohanty, who is well-known personality to fisheries professionals, all the fisheries professionals who worked in different capacities, including head of the division of ICRCI, Fishery, Barakpur. He has handled several projects with numerous publications. He is well known for his conceptualization and development of nutritious in, which stands for nutritious India database, and a mobile application nutritious app, which is also appreciated by the World Bank and FAO. Currently, he is the Assistant Director General of Inland Fisheries, ICAR, New Delhi. Sir, please.
Very good morning to all of you. Thanks for the introduction. The most favored Vice Chancellor of the West Bengal University Annual and Fishery Sciences, Professor Chanchal Guha, Professor Arunasis Goswami, Director Research Extension and Farms, Professor Vipul Das, Dean Faculty of Fishery Sciences, Dr. Saurav Chandra, the Registrar of the University, the young dynamic Head of Division, Dr. Saurav Chandra, Dr. Somen Sahu, my fellow eminent speakers, Dr. Lata Sena, Dr. Syam Salim, Ranjit Lakshmanan, the organizing team, ladies and gentlemen, and everybody listening to this program all around. It is my pleasure to extend you all a very warm welcome on behalf of the Indian Council of Agriculture Research, especially the Fishery Science Division. And this is something very relevant, as Professor Arunasis Goswami said, whether you say it is post-pandemic era or it is pandemic is running and it has become a part of life now. And we are going through this situation and we have to face this situation also. Maybe it is a part of life now. And if we are surviving today and we are managing,
it is because of our farmers. Our buffer stock, our food grains, our fisheries, and all sectors. The farmers they are able to produce under this situation also. Our production is quite high, and we have a buffer stock also. That's why we are able to survive this situation. All are getting food, but still the situation continues, and under this situation we have great job because the food sector it is most important. It is important for our survival and for our health. So with this context, again once again I thank you all, especially the organizers, for organizing seminar in such an important area and fixing this topic. So I will start with my presentation and then we will be discussing. That's good. So my topic is fish as an affordable source of quality animal proteins. For what? To fight protein hunger and boost immunity, especially under the COVID-19 pandemic. And a nutrition economics perspective, I am to discuss. So to start my talk, I will make a quote, the famous quote by Hippocrates, the Greek physician, who is credited as the father of the modern medicine. He said, "Let food be thy medicine." Means our food should be our medicine. So with this famous quote I start, and I come to the, what is then now we talk of food nutrition and nutritional values of fish and all other things. And the Prime Minister Matsya Sampad Yojana, all these things will be discussing. So first I have to start with what is the nutrition economics. Nutrition economics, it is a term, it was introduced way back in 2010. Not very old technique, maybe decade old term. And it is a discipline which is for characterizing health and economic outcomes in the society for better nutrition. So health and these economic outcomes for the society. And two things, health economics and nutritional sciences together. Health economics and nutritional sciences, it could be forms the nutritional economics. And its most important job is assessing the impact of diet on health and disease prevention. And we are facing a situation like this. So in this context, I say it is very relevant to understand how our diet can modulate our immunity. And we are all in fact surviving now because of our immunity. Immunity is fundamental to survival. If we are surviving today, many of us are exposed to the virus. Not that we are not exposed, but we are surviving because of our immunity. Our immune system is working. Whether our antibody titer is low or high, it is different, but we are all surviving because of that. And for that, diet is very vital. We do not have a vaccine, but how we are surviving then. Now, nutrition economics enables an understanding of how nutrition interplays health, then welfare economics, and socio-economic status of the people. And we all know the lack of proper nutrition in the early stages of life, starting from the conception. So, a lot of stress is given on the first 1,000 days of life, providing the nutritional security. Otherwise, it impairs the intellectual ability, economic productivity, reproductive performance, and causes diabetes, then cardiovascular disease. In a very early age, these things are coming up. And that's why it is so vital that when the zygote formation is there, when it is in its mother womb, starting from the conception, first 1,000 days of life, nutritional security must be ensured. That is what the World Health Organization, FAO, all the governments, they are now stressing. This low birth weight and stunting, their problems. It is especially in the Africa and the South Asian countries, it is prevalent. And low birth weight, what is low birth weight? It is when at the time of birth, when a newborn, the baby is born, sister takes and first takes the weight, and the weight should be, as per the WHO definition, it should be 2.5 kg minimum. Below that, we say it is a low birth weight baby. Then stunting, height, that is another issue, and these are big problems. And over generations of malnutrition or undernutrition, these things have come up. And unless you tackle these things, low birth weight, then the baby is born with several deficiencies, and in the early stages of life, when it is 14, 16, 18 years old, we see nowadays they are coming with kidney problem, there is heart problem, there is diabetes, all these things. But it is a maternal onset. It is called FOD, fetal onset of adult diseases. In the fetal stage, in the mother's womb, these things have started. And once the baby is born, we say it is a low birth weight or it is a just 2.5 kg, 2.6 kg. We give enough nutrition and see that baby is healthy. But the defect remains. So when it is again around say 16, 18 years of age, by that time the disease manifests. And this early onset, as onset is in the mother's womb, we see it at the very early stage in life, like 16, 18 years age, and leads to several problems, mental retardation and several things. And food is so vital for that reason. Then a serious concern of prevalent food and meal schemes. I will be coming to the midday meals schemes how it started and way back in USA in around 1794, sometime like that. And the midday meal programs we are now making. So we try to see that we keep in view the low birth weights. But we do not bother really much about the height because it is at a later stage in the school stage. We give a high protein diet and try to see that weight is gained. But we are not giving so much of importance to the micronutrients. So it makes the child heavier and promote obesity, but there is no gain in the height. So such things are very important. And this economic burden of undernutrition is an important issue for governments in terms of social investment, because in the health sector, government has to invest lot of money, lot of subsidies given big hospitals. Say around 63.5% or more in AIMS and the big hospitals, government is giving subsidy. If that much money is not spent on health, so that can be diverted to other developmental sectors. And this is not only that generation, the other generations, they are also affected in this process. So the government has a lot of big social dimension, and government has to divert a lot of money for this. As I said, this in the during the President Abraham Lincoln, he signed this. There is one act called Morrill Act. So the US rural sector, they wanted on the land grant universities to how to transform in the rural sector in USA nutrition, health, and food security. So for that, actually, 1894, so this first school launch program started, and that was a successful one. And from that school launch program, several other things also came out, like special supplemental nutrition program for women, infants, children, and how to tackle the low birth weight and such other issues. So why I am telling these things, that when you say economics, so we see these things in 2010 in the group of scientists. I have seen those things. They conducted workshop, the scientists, and they published their work in the British Journal of Nutrition, correlating this health economics and nutrition and together putting. So this new field came up, and after that there are a lot of work being done in India. I do not know whether we are doing much, but this has become big area, so that we can give advice to the government, and we can indicate actually by studies how by taking care of our health by providing proper nutrition. Like I mentioned, Hippocrates said, "Let food be medicine." So if we are taking proper nutrition, then we are controlling the modulating the immune system. Also, we are maintaining good health and less expenditure on the sector. So nutrition economics also assumes an important role whenever global food price crisis threatens public health. Food price crisis means maybe we are stable in terms of food because our buffer stock is high, but many countries are vulnerable at this point of time. COVID-19 production is less, many countries are affected. Then low income group, many people are affected in this process. So at this situation, there is not much choice for the food. So there is food insecurity. So now we will be coming to food insecurity and health, and how why this is so important at this point of time. Again, I come to the Food and Agriculture Organization definition of what is food security. Food security is a situation that exists when all people at all times have physical, social, and economic access to sufficient, safe, and nutritious food that meets their dietary needs and food preferences for an active and healthy life. So that means we see with the 4 different dimensions we see. Food must be available. There must be economic and physical access to the food. food utilization should be proper. There is stability over a period of time. This is nothing but we say welfare economics and all this. So that means, simple terms, food security is a measure of the availability of food and individual's ability to access it. If fellow must able to get it, it must be available. And there is, when you say then hunger and malnutrition, but if then hunger, then chronic undernourishment. If somebody is not getting proper nourishment, balanced diet for a longer period of time, it is hunger. Then malnutrition. What is malnutrition? It is abnormal physiological condition. It is because of inadequate or imbalanced or excess consumption of nutrients. So it can be undernutrition. In our country, mainly it is undernutrition is a problem, but in our metro cities and in the western particularly, overnutrition is a problem and leading to obesity. We say lifestyle disease, whatsoever we tell, but that is a big problem. So undernutrition is a problem. Overnutrition is also a problem. So both are malnutrition. So if you see the different dimensions of Econ and WHO, they say it is mainly the protein hunger, it is the calorie hunger or the hidden hunger. We will be talking about the protein hunger. I will be talking about little more about that. Then all these situations are there. So when there is a protein hunger and it is for it becomes chronic for longer period of time. After the weaning, when the baby after leaving the breastfeeding, when the baby if not supplemented with proper diet, then a chronic protein deficiency situation arises and you see a picture before you, condition called kwashiorkor. When there is there is energy deficiency or calorie deficiency, the condition is called marasmus, and protein and calorie malnutrition, they mostly occur together. They are not separate events. So protein calorie malnutrition leads to underdevelopment, mental retardation, and several other situations because in the early childhood it is there. Then what is hidden hunger? Hidden hunger is the micronutrient deficiency. Micronutrient means they are required in very, very small quantity, vitamins and minerals, but they are essential for all our metabolic activities. In absence of them, even whatever nutrient you take, metabolism is not proper. But why it is called hidden hunger? Because this is a hunger where your belly is not really feeling hungry, you are not feeling hungry, but your body is hungry, and all the metabolic activities are affected. So it is micronutrient deficiency, therefore as hidden hunger. Then in this context now I come what is our strength as a sector, fishery sector. Why we are so important? We are one of the fisheries, one of the fastest growing food production sectors. There is great demand on fish. I will be coming at a later stage that Pradhan Mantri Matsya Sampada Yojana, PMC, there is a 20,050 crores rupees allocations, central government, state government and the stakeholder together they will be putting a big stimulus package. A lot of stress is given on the sector. Then why? Because fish is an important component of the human diet. It is a very important human diet. It is a source of important source of quality animal proteins. Quality animal protein, when I say, we know the essential amino acid, non-essential amino acid. If you see in fish, it is high. That means we have good quantity of essential amino acids. I will come to the later what is their importance. Then fish are very rich source of micronutrients. That is vitamins and minerals, and it is not for all fish, especially the small indigenous fishes. They are very rich source of micronutrients, vitamins and minerals. That's why I want to make a mention at this stage. When we go for 1 kg of carbs or big fish, we should go for 200 grams of small indigenous fishes. 1 kg, then you get 200. So that you take our micronutrients, you take our other things. Protein you will get from carbs and any other fish. Even though you get the protein from the small indigenous fishes, it is essential for the micronutrients. They are dense in the micronutrients. Then fish oil, it is a rich source of polyunsaturated fatty acids, especially omega-3 purifiers, EPA and DHA, antioxidants, and fish is a source of, you can say, all nutrients except carbohydrates. That means if you say Bengal, Eastern India and all places and many other countries in the world, which take fish and rice. So from rice you get carbohydrate, from fish all other nutrients. And what is the most important thing, last line we should remember, it is availability and affordability. It is better for fish. Available why? Because we are a tropical country, we are rich in fish biodiversity. We have all type of habitats, marine water, brackish water, fresh water, cold water, all types. And wherever there is water, there is fish. Fish is available. It is affordable. Why? If you are looking for a source of quality animal protein, beef, pork, chicken, mutton, whatsoever you say, and you compare fish, others are fixed. But fish has a flexibility because fish can vary from 50-60 rupees per kg, maybe 1,000 rupees for Hilsa, 2,000 for Padma Hilsa. So that means there is a big price range. A common man can afford to get a kg of fish in 50, 60, 80 rupees or 100 rupees. So he can feed his family. So his protein hunger, coming to the details, protein has several roles, like a musculoskeletal system, but I am coming, it is most important in this context, COVID context, antibodies, immunoglobulins. For immunoglobulins are also proteins. So unless you have proper diet, so your immune system is not strong, you cannot produce immunoglobulins. And I say that if we are surviving today, it is because of our immune system. Not that we have not faced the virus, we have developed antibody, maybe to different extent, may not be appropriate, so that we are fully protected, but we are protected because of that. And amino acids also have different role, I do not go into that. And fish oils are very important for adult population. Coronary heart disease, it keeps away. These diseases I am telling, these are all medical study, but whatever I am telling, they keep the diseases away from us, preventable human diseases. So it is coronary heart disease for the adults, for the elderly population, dementia, that is forgetfulness, age-related macular degeneration, acuity of vision is lost, then mood disorders, depression and such things in the elderly population, and in the pediatric population, childhood asthma, then attention deficit hyperactive disorder. These are the different medical conditions. They are kept away if you are taking omega-3 purifiers. I am not coming to the detailed minerals, iron, calcium, sodium, what they do, but you know that they are cofactors for different enzyme activities. Similarly, vitamins, I am not coming to that, and you know that what are the deficiency diseases. Sound for me. And why fish, again I am repeating, it is because of the reasons fish is so vital. Because if you are taking a minimum diet of rice and fish, you are getting carbohydrate and all other things from the fish, whether it is dry fish. And in this context, just I am to make a quick mention, our farmers, when they go to field, I am also from a farmer's family. Our childhood we have seen, farmer will go potato and rice and go to the field. In the morning, we will take potato and rice. So potato is carbohydrate, rice is carbohydrate. If you are taking potato and rice, what you are getting only carbohydrate is that, it is imbalanced. So we have to make our people understand the food combinations. I said that we have more than 1,300 marine species, edible, 720 inland fish species, more than that. So we are rich in diversity, fish diversity, but we must understand what is the composition, what the content. So we can make best use of data. So this is called food data. And for this food data, in many countries in the world, they have their food databases. So there is in FO, the International Network of Food Data System, where they maintain all the different inputs, maintain all the databases, and make best use of the fish as a fish and other foods as a food. In this context, so we have also, our country, we have also developed lot of food data. I will coming to that in a project we have developed. 2008 to 18, we had a project that is called Nutritious India. We developed database from that, where we have studied more than 115 food fishes. Institute like CMFR Cochin, CIFT, CIFE Mumbai, DCFR Bhimtal, SIFA Bhubaneswar, CIFRI Barakpur. So 7 institutes, we have studied more than 115 species. And in general, you see protein content of fish maybe 15 to 22%, it can vary. Oil also 0.7 to 10%. Then mineral content 0.5 to 5%. So such a variable. So if we know which fish is containing what, we can make it for clinical use as well as for community nutrition programs. Similarly, we know that fish oils are so important, we discussed. If a rich person can take that junior Horlicks or mother's Horlicks, which contain nothing but added DHA for memory. So our common people, they can also know that what are we have studied more than 115, so what is the oil content in different species, they can take. So that popular saying, what Bengal thinks today, India thinks tomorrow, that Hilsa, famous Hilsa fish we have, and it is so rich that it contains highest amount of oil among all the species we have studied. See, more than 10% oil content, and it is very rich in omega-3, that is EPA and DHA, brain friendly and heart friendly. So, and these there are several other fishes also there, like all marine fish, they are rich in omega-3. Then cold water fishes also. Anavas among freshwater, anavas is very important. Then Osteobrom belangeri, pengua, that is also very rich. So we must know which is rich in what, so we can make best use of it. So knowing all these things, we can know that micronutrient dense species, protein dense rich species, fat rich species. We have the knowledge base for this now. I have shown only few just for information sake, but there are many more in the list. Similarly, we have compared that small fish and big fish. I said 1 kg of big fish carbs we are taking, so mola and other puntias and other things we should take 200 gram at least. Why? Because small indigenous fish they contain 4 to 5% these micronutrients. The content of mola, it may be 20 times or more than that than the carbs. So to take these micronutrients, we must take the small indigenous species. So we have the information now because we have studied several species. What is calcium rich, which species is magnesium, where there is high phosphorus, where there is iron, where there is copper, zinc. All these things I have given only few species as a reference, but there are many. Manganese, selenium. So suppose vitamin A and iron, they are so important for the pregnant mothers. We can prescribe those pieces. Vitamin A for this night blindness and other things, we can also prescribe. So these vitamin A, D, E and K, you see these amblyophoron and mola and puntios, they are you can see champion species for all these. So high present in them. So this is also iron and vitamin A combination we have prepared so that for the pregnant mother and for the children this can be prescribed and fishes can be chosen for the midday meal programs. Our DG, Dr. Mahapatra, he visited sometimes Barakpur lab and he wanted that. You are talking of several species, but we tell me few smart species. That means they should contain several nutrients. We can include them in our many programs so that they should have protein, they should have oil, they should have micronutrients like that. So just few species I have put, but we have many more which you can species and they can be used for these community nutrition programs. Whatever all these things I am discussing, we have put it into a database, and the database is NutriFish India. Made in India program, you can say NutriFish, a short NutriFish in. You simply Google NutriFish in, it will be taking you to the database. It is open access database. It has a homepage, it has objectives, consultant partners, project duration, what are the events, publications, what are the methodology. Then knowledge base. There is a knowledge base. You click for a fish, it will be showing its amino acid profile. You click for fatty acid, it will show the species wise, it will be showing you details. And there is a knowledge base inbuilt again, where it will be showing a particular fish. You click with the figure, it is there. From for what its composition it will be showing. Then for which it can be prescribed also, it will be showing. And this is the homepage link for that, or simply you can Google. So it has been noticed by World Bank and other organizations. World Bank says a senior it is an excellent and visionary research and development platform that could be exposed to governments across the world to advance global food security. These are some of the comments they wrote mentioned to us. And for our common fishermen, when from Bengal, Odisha, Bihar, Jharkhand, we get northeast, we get several fishermen for training. We found that they cannot be directly taken to the database. So we make it, because all have smartphones, this mobile database we have developed for them, it is a NutriFish app. So it has also all these things. One can download it free from the Google Play Store. You enter into it, again it will be taking you to the database. And a common man also can have all the information to him. Now, I am not going to details again, and just 2 minutes I will take. These are nutritional highlights of the food pieces from India, which is given in the, this is what in the knowledge base. You go to the knowledge base, you will find the fish, photo is given, so you can identify what is the approximate composition is given, then what for it can be recommended, which amino acid or which mineral. So these are the different species for which I am not going to detail. Whatever species we have studied, we have published, all these things are mentioned in the table. We have still some more species which are updating periodically. Cold water species, then marine species, we have all the information. Then prawns, they are very rich in proteins, are very important. And having done that, we have also documented all the information in different, like on small indigenous species in English and Hindi, we have documented. On Hilsa, we have a book and a bulletin. So information is available to public. There is, we have developed a document, therapeutic value of fish. So our parliamentary committee member visited, they wanted that it should be in Hindi, national language. Then we made it in Bengali because it is local language and people wanted to have a copy. We prepared in Bengali, we prepared in Assamese. One professor, extension professor from Karnataka, he wanted to translate on their own, they have made it. We can make this such information in different languages so that it is available to people, because science is there, but unless this is knowledge driven society, unless people get the knowledge, how they are going to make use of it? Because government is spending money for these things, generating this knowledge. Similarly, on the marine fish, on cold water species, fish consumption and human health, so many documents are prepared, brochures also, so that this is distributed to people in different meetings and programs. Seeing this NutriFish India, NutriFish scene, you see this NutriFish 1000. This is a program launched by the World Bank Group. FAO, all they have launched it on October 2018, World Food Day. They have launched this program. They have discussed with us, giving the name also NutriFish 1000. NutriFish 1000, they want to study also similarly like we have studied 115. They want to study 1000 species globally in different countries. They also want to ensure the food security for the first 1000 days of life. I said initially, first 1000 days of life, it is so important. They want to ensure the nutritional security from the time of conception to 1000 days. That is the most vulnerable period. So such information we have. These are representative publications in food chemistry and other several important journals we have put. So the whole world is seeing what are the species India has having, what is their nutritional importance. So our farmers can fetch better price. So one of these our studies that was highlighted on the World Food Day 2018 Elsevier special article collection. So that is the target is by 2030 we should have zero hunger. So for that, what are the importance and how our studies, our database developed from India, it is going to help. So that is also highlighted. Then coming to end, again starting the food, our food is our medicine. Why it is important? It is important for nutritional security as well as livelihood security for the farmers and other people engaged in this sector. Then fighting hunger and alleviating malnutrition. Very important. This is linked to low birth weight and stunting. This is nothing but nutritional economics. We make such studies and alert the government that how it is through nutrition intervention, how we can strengthen our economy, maternal and child health, and this coming to the our database, we should make use of it. The Prime Minister's slogan, vocal for local. So our database, our food data also, we should highlight it, we should make use of it, we should show to the world, so the whole world gets benefit of it. So before ending, I will say that the Pradhan Mantri Matsya Sampada Yojana, which has been just recently launched, we have several meetings, and it is a huge stimulus package for our sector. It gives a 20,050 crores of rupees. And in this, especially target is on the inland fisheries, increasing the production from the inland fisheries sector, especially ponds, wetlands, lakes and rivers. And ponds is giving special emphasis targeted for that. And we can make use of it because simply I said that whether it is fish, whether it is dry fish or in different products, processes. And here we also discuss how to enhance the farmer's income, double the farmer income. Farmers gets a good remuneration as well as country gets the nutritional security. The world gets the nutritional security, and all these things are linked to the sustainable development goal. We say SDG, and especially if you see our fishery sector, the sustainable development goal number 1, no poverty. We have a big contribution because our livelihood of farmers and many others associated with the sector is linked to it. Then it is number 2, we are linked, very strongly linked, that is zero hunger. Zero hunger means food and nutritional security. Nutritional security, for that fish has very important role, one of the fastest growing production sectors, and it can really contribute in a very big way. So it is pandemic time and post-pandemic time, all this, and especially because now protein hunger, as I discussed earlier, it is so important to get a proper protein for the immunity and for good health. So there is a lot of stress on it. Then SDG number 3, it is good health and well-being. We are also linked to that. Then responsible production and consumption. Whatever fish we are producing today, 5 years back 30% it was post-harvest loss. Now it is 20%. And if you are preventing that loss, target has been in this during Matsya Sampada Yojana, in the coming 5 years, you should make that loss to reduce it to 10%. If you are reducing it is as good as producing. That means we should harvest quickly. We are discussing, this may be sound crazy, suppose our fish from Andhra, we can transport by air and it reaches the same afternoon the northeast. People get a good remuneration, good fish, they pay more, farmers are getting good remuneration, and it is a stimulus for the farmers, they can produce more. So like that, many new things, many new midday meal programs which include fish, select the fish and do. Then we have to educate our people also. That is very important. Like we are taking in the name of Basa, from Vietnam, Pangas is coming. In Bengal, our people are not taking, Odisha people are not taking, and then in Chhattisgarh and Jharkhand, we are producing a lot. But we can also process it and educate our people that it is rich in protein and you must take it. This Pangas, we are giving it is also same Basa. So we have to educate the people and we can have sell our product. We can process, we can target because the husband wives nowadays normally all are working, ready to eat food. During this COVID time in metros, in Delhi we are getting in many metros, this processed fish, clean fish and processed it is reaching people. And we have to develop good marketing system. You go to any superstore, you never get a fish smell because we are not making good markets. Sometimes people feel different. So we must have excellent market system, modern market system, and see how it works because in big stores it is there. Then target number 14, that is life below water. That is so vital. Keeping the because ultimately the aquatic system, that is surface of the earth, three-fourth is water, and that is ultimately fish can grow there, and that planktons are there, fish is there, so far it is there, we can guarantee nutrition to the entire world. So our sector is so vital. It is so vital under normal conditions, especially under these conditions we have to immunity is important, protein diet is important, calorie is important, micronutrient they are important, and fish is source of all these things. So we have a great future. So we must work hard. We must make best use of it. Our economics and statistics people make such case studies where it is done in Western countries more, so that our government also understand the importance of the sector and for the health and well-being, how important we are. So as a sector we can grow. So I think I have taken my time, maybe 5 minutes more. So thank you very much for giving a patient hearing. So we are thankful to ICR Fisheries Science Division and our consortium partner of the institutes mentioned all, it is indicated here. So who generated a lot of data in this line, so I could share with you. So thank you very much for your patient hearing. Thank you all.
Thank you very much, sir, for your beautiful and informative presentation. I hope definitely your presentation will enlighten the participant at various new aspects. Sir, we have two questions in the chat box by Dr. Paresh Chatterjee. The nutrient composition of body is directly related to its diet.
Yeah.
Which group of fish can be targeted easily for production of extra nutrient fish by dietary manipulation of fish?
See, in the country level, globally you see salmon is one of the best species because omega-3 rich, protein rich. In India we have hilsa, but problem is so far we are not able to breed it and in captivity and propagate in ponds. That's why a lot of money is being spent to do that, and Norway, Bangladesh, several governments trying together to bring it. And besides that, they're like suppose our carbs are there. We are known as a carb country, and there the most 85% of our freshwater production it is coming from that. If we can make nutritional manipulations and increase the omega-3 content or the oil content of the carbs, so if in omega-3 content is increased, it is one of the best because production is so high, and we are a carb country, and that is what. Then we should know that like Anavas testudineus, it is a very tasty fish, you know. All the tasty fish, they have omega-3 and oil content high, and they are nutritionally very superior. But only thing is that there are a lot of spines in that. So we must know how to manage our post-harvest people to tackle it so that it can also be included. Otherwise, such a fish, it is a very high value fish, but we cannot include it in midday meal program because a lot of spines and the children cannot eat it. So we have to find out ways. Similarly, these small indigenous fishes, we are also trying, maybe we have to coming days, we have to make like you are getting milk powder, amul and other things. We have to make protein powders. You add 2 spoonfuls, any preparation you make, you add 2 spoonfuls. So that directly you are getting micronutrients, you are getting proteins and other things. These are the things to come. Attempt have been made, if not that people have not attempted, it has not been successful. But I see that we must make it, and we must make these protein powders available. So nothing, you add 2 teaspoonful and you get the nutrient. That type of thing you have to make. then ready to eat processed things we have to make also. Midday meal program, I think I have addressed this question. Midday meal programs, we are given a big list of proteins. So for proteins, carbs are the best and spines are less, and that can be tackled for these midday meal programs. Yeah.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir, for a beautiful presentation. And maybe it is the most relevant in the current scenario. And nutrition is the most important. And thank you, sir. And now, because we are going late in,
Yeah. Thank you for the
we're going out of time, so maybe we will go to the next presentation. So now it's a time to hear from another eminent speaker, Dr. Lata Sena ma'am. She has about 4 decades of experience in notable national and international contributions. Her area of expertise include fish capture technologies, responsible fishing practice, fisheries resource management, and marine fisheries regulatory and policy issues. She is also well known for her famous book, Fishing Gear and Craft Technology, published by the Indian Council of Agricultural Research, New Delhi. Ma'am, please. Sir, please
Yeah.
stop presenting so that,
Yeah.
Am I audible?
yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Good afternoon, all. And first of all, I would like to thank the authorities of West Bengal University of Animal and Fishery Sciences and faculty of Fishery Sciences, the chairman of organizing committee, Dr. Sahul, and all my for giving me an opportunity to um, make a presentation on capture fisheries. And I think it's a very timely organization of this webinar when we are all reeling under the impact of COVID-19 and which has impacted humans also and all the economic activities, and fisheries sector is no exception. So I would like to discuss something on the impact of COVID-19 on capture fisheries, and would like to suggest make certain suggestions how to maintain sustainability. So I'll just start my presentation.
Hello, ma'am.
Yeah, actually,
Now it is okay.
it's coming now. Yeah.
Your screen is coming.
Okay. But this I'm not able to.
Ma'am, during sharing, you just give the option entire scheme.
Yeah, I have given that.
Now you can go back and
Ma'am,
select
minimize
that.
your Google page. Excuse me,
You
ma'am.
just minimize.
Minimize the screen
Yeah.
page.
Or shall I put stop presenting and can you upload, Suthan?
Okay, ma'am. Okay, ma'am. No problem.
I'll I'll put stop presenting because
Okay.
yeah.
Okay, ma'am. You just say next. I will change the slide then.
Pardon? Yeah. Okay.
Now it is okay, ma'am.
Yeah. It's okay. Yeah. So I would like to discuss about the impact of pandemic COVID-19 on capture fisheries and management strategies for sustainable development. Yeah, next one. Next slide.
Enable editing.
Yeah, I've
Hello.
done. Yeah, I've done enable editing. 1 minute. Yeah,
1 minute, ma'am.
it's not moving.
Now it is visible, ma'am.
Yeah.
Okay. Now it is okay, ma'am.
Yeah, it's okay. It's okay. Yeah. So actually, I'll be discussing about the capture fisheries. So as we know that there are different activities in the fisheries supply chain, and fishing is the main basic activity. And before we actually try to assess the impact, I thought there should be some statistical data about the present status of capture fisheries, so that we will be able to sort of make out what could be the impact when the COVID-19, amid COVID-19 and post COVID-19. So if you look at the total global million metric tons of capture, marine total, and marine is about 84.4 metric tons, and inland 12 metric tons. And seven countries which constitute more than 50% of the production. The first one is China, Indonesia, Peru, Russia, USA, India, and Vietnam. So uh, these seven countries constitute more than 50% of production, and in this, Asia accounts for two-thirds of the total global inland capture production. That is China, India, Bangladesh, Myanmar, and Cambodia. And what I mean to say is Asia is contributing about more than one-third of the, more than rather two-thirds of the global Indian capture. And about 39 million people are engaged in the capture fisheries out of the 16 million. And about 85% of these are in Asia. So the idea of showing this slide is that 85% of the workforce that is from India, from Asia. So which means the impact also would be more in the countries which are located in Asia. Next one. Now coming to the global fishing fleet and trade, about 68% of the fishing fleet, they are in Asia. And when it comes to the uh, products, the trade of the fish and fishery products, 38% of the total fish production enters the international trade, and of which the developing countries accounted for about 49% of the total imports in terms of quantity and 31% in terms of value. And the global fish consumption, which has increased at a annual growth rate of 3.1%, higher than any other animal protein foods. Next. Next. Yeah. Now coming to the Indian scenario, we can see that around 1.6 crore people are actually involved in the fisheries livelihood. And if you look at the total capture, total production, it is 12.59 million metric tons, which was in 2018, of which 3.69 in marine and 8.90 in inland. Now, this is actually a change during the last few decades, where the percentage contribution of inland fish to the total landing showed significant increase, that is from 29% to 71%, while the share of the marine fisheries reduced from 71% to 29% in the last several decades. So this is a major shift in our capture fisheries. And coming to the exports also, we are a leading export country with
তোর মোবাইলটা কইব
working hours, and they are also more susceptible to this COVID-19 outbreaks because if a person, one fisher is infected and they are in the middle of the sea and returns, then it becomes a very serious issue. So this is a major impact on the fishing vessels. And when it comes to the self-isolation and restriction of mobility, it reduces demand for fish and fishery products, which has negative economic impacts. Next one. Next. Yes. Now, I initially, as I said, I showed the statistics of fishers which are engaged in capture fisheries with the purpose that the most affected fishers are in Asia. Because even if you look at the FAO estimates, about 30.8 are engaged in the primary sector of inland and marine capture fisheries during 2018. So, out of the 39 million fishers, more than 30 million fishers are engaged in the primary sector of marine and inland capture fisheries. So that signifies the importance and the disruption what it causes to their livelihoods. So, and another point here is that many countries in Asia are among the top producers, exporters, and importers of fish and fishery products. And so, this has impacted exports also. And when fishing is okay, next slide. Now, again, other activities like transportation, marketing, and trade are also affected because of the home confinement, curfews, bans, restrictions, etc. And because these have all led to the partial closure of the eating places, catering services, and so this has led to we will all be out of this COVID-19 scenario. But things have, many of the activities have, economic activities have opened up now. And but the fear of pandemic is still lurking in the minds of everyone, including fishers. And declining profits from declining demand is a major impact on the communities. Next one. Now coming to, okay, these have been the impacts and what it has led to impact on the management of fisheries. Now the entire management of fisheries, we need to look at it in a slightly different way because many times the funds are also diverted to emergency activities and due to the lack of monitoring and control, sometimes some of the fishers could be indulging in IUU, that is illegal, unreported and unlicensed fishing. So we need to tackle these issues. Next one. But there have been most of the governments have taken very proactive steps in COVID-19 as well as certain protection measures. Many of the protection measures include social assistance, then social insurance, labor market programs, and ensuring continuity of food supply. And as far as Government of India is concerned, Department of Fisheries, Government of India issued certain model standard operating procedures related to key activities of fisheries supply chain, and this will form the new norm amid COVID-19. So any fisher now engaging in fishing activities and other related key activities of the supply chain have to follow the new norms prescribed under the SOPs. These have been formed as guidelines of the guidelines of Ministry of Home Affairs, of Health and Family Welfare, and the fishing conditions. So these have been formulated. There are institutes like CIFT who have fishing harbor, fishing boat, fishermen has released of for fishers of rivers, estuaries, creeks, reservoirs, etc. So the governments have taken proactive protective measures. Next one. Next. So they are mandatory now, and this will be basically under the district collector who will coordinate with the district fisheries departments, and in case need be, then they will coordinate with coastal guard and security personnel for any help in case of distress by fishermen and crew members. Next one. Now, this I am not going into the details. These are the basically the four SOPs for capture fisheries. That is before departure of fishing vessels and boats, during fishing at sea, arrival of boats at fishing harbor, fish landing site, and transportation of fish catch. And these are linked to the protection measures which are otherwise there, like sanitization, use of mask, maintenance of physical distancing, then use of gloves on boats, then all the mandatory thermal screening, except the landing, fishing harbor, fish landing sites, etc., and which are specific to fishing activity. Next one. Next one. Now, when we look at the negative and positive impact, not say that it has only been a negative impact. Always there will be some the other side of the coin. What has happened is it has definitely affected the negative consequences are on the livelihoods of fishers, and the positive impact from the resources side, it is the reduction of carbon footprint because of fishing, because of reduction in fishing activities, it has already given respite to some overexploited fish population. And another positive impact is the boost to urban fish consumption through e-commerce platform. But the negative impact has been on the domestic and import markets, and also the employment opportunities in the key activities of the sector. Next one. Next one. So now I'll just go through certain strategies, what I thought of what we could do in the amidst and post-COVID scenario. Now we all know that we are in the our transition towards the that is the Sustainability in Action 2030 agenda. And my previous speaker has also stressed on the Sustainable Development Goals, which are 17 in number, and which the fisheries sector is concerned with SDG 14, that is life below water, which the agenda is to conserve the oceans, our oceans, seas, and conserve the natural resources. Now, for this, when we talk about sustainability, the most important thing is the implementation of the code, which is the Code of Conduct for Responsible Fisheries, which is a blueprint which has is a voluntary, though this is voluntary in nature, it has crept into the, has been linked to the fisheries policies of all the countries, and it has also inspired the development of an ecosystem approach to fisheries. Because now we are not isolating the environmental consideration, management aspect, so incorporating conservation and environmental consideration into fisheries management. Now here the highlights are there is a need for more financial and human resources, training, awareness raising, and in research and statistics. Now strengthening of MCS by use of logbooks, identification system, more patrol boats, and issuance of biometric cards to fishers, which are in the different stages of development in different countries and in different states of India also. But these are all we are moving towards the proper monitoring, control, and surveillance system in fisheries to avoid illegal fishing and a proper management of the resources. Next one, approach to management, bringing. Next one, dimensions we cannot isolate when we talk about sustainability. Because environment is really important, and the environmental variables affect the distribution and fishes. So we need to use spatial strategies, fishing strategies using technologies like remote sensing and GIS, which will enable us to harvest resources. As gloomy as it looks, only there may be certain shifts in the management processes. That means the share of capture fisheries is expected to reduce from present 54% to 47%, while that of aquaculture to increase from the present 46 to 50. A shift in the production processes. And the factors influencing sustained capture fisheries include the increased catches in areas where stocks are recovering, growth in catches where underfished resources are there, and improved utilization of the harvest. Next one. Yeah, so in conclusion, I can say there have been negative and positive impacts, and the government has taken measures to contain the COVID-19 and has also issued SOPs mandatory for all stakeholders in fisheries. Next one. Next one. Yeah. Yeah, so as I said, these are the major strategies: implementation of CCRF, enhancement of MCS, shift from open access to tenure user rights, ecosystem approach, and adoption of spatial fishing strategies using remote sensing and GIS. Next one, yeah. So these are the references, and thank you for your patient listening. I think I must have taken 5 minutes more. And so once again, I thank all the organizing team for inviting me and allowing me to make a presentation. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am, for very informative and a very nice presentation. The Indian fish market for better market methodological fixing the vulnerability of coastal households consequent to the climate change. During his bright career, Dr. Salim has completed over 50 national and international projects, well supported by more than 300 publications. So, sir, please.
Is someone going to show the presentation, or I'll do from my side?
Sir, if you can do that, will be better, sir.
1 second, hold on. Am I audible?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay.
But sir, your voice is coming very low, sir.
That's what I'm seeing. Is it visible now?
No, sir. Presentation is not visible, sir.
Can you show it from your side then? Can you show it from your side?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We will present, sir. But your voice is coming.
In the Blue Revolution, either the CV, the Fisheries Infrastructure Fund, payments higher depths. When I talk about the craft and concern is now we have 80-20 now. 80% of the fish is being caught by 20% of the fishers, and large number of fishers, the non-motor sectors, is already precipitated mechanized and motorized fish landings and for the country. 40% of the fish comes from the mechanized sector, 18% the motorized sector, and hardly the motorized sector, indicating that people are relying on non-motorized. The catch is going to be very, very less. And if I talk about the resources, we have three major kinds of resources: the fin, the crustaceans, and the molluscs. The fins include the pelagic and the demersal. The crustacean, which has a huge share of export earnings, has come down because of the being farmed again and again. Now the wild shrimp to the farm shrimp, if you see, it has almost become 18 states, but mostly trawl appears to major one. Now, why we were worried with fish production is globally we find that the capture fisheries is on the low and aquaculture production is on the high. FAO reports of 2018 is indicating that of the around 140 million tons of fish being produced, more than 50% has been from the capture sector. But we could see that the graph is having a basal shift now. It is more or less tapering now, which indicates not going to increase. But whereas the capture fisheries, this could be the main 9-4 as a matter of West Bengal and Orissa. These are the species sectors. 48% is pelagic, 34% is by demersal, 12% by stations, 6% by cephalopods. But remember this in the rice. So this is what I was telling. The mechanized sector is contributing by motors and 1% as per 2019. But if we take the 10-year averages, it's around 80, 18, and 12. Now, for your interest, marine landings in West Bengal over the years has been showing very defects. Like we're not sure like how this happens. Actually, in some years it's going to be high, and it was something like the highest 4 years has been into 3.5 lakh tons. 2011, it came down to 0.77. The case could be because of many monsoon cyclones could be on the low. Now, this is something which is of interesting for us. Now we talk, and now if you go into the exclusive catch 172, motorized 30, and non-mechanized 6. So, as an economist, I believe that when the non-mechanized is only an option of having an option of only 6 species, that indicates that they have an exclusive right over only 6 different species, whereas all the rest 1,000 could be coming across other sectors. So it indicates that it's not going to stay long if this kind of regulatory mechanisms are in place. Now again, I've differentiated this in the case also. Now you could find that there is more species across the southeast, followed by the southwest. Southern areas indicates a better regions of species diverse zone. We always find the fish. The fish when it is landing, hold either in the landing center, or it could be the first sale, or it could be the last sale. See over the years, it has increased. You could see in 2010 it was just 22,000, come up to 60,000 crores, whereas the valuation was 36,000 crores. Now it has come up to around 90,000 crores. So this indicates that the price of fish is improving as the years progresses. Now, if I remove the inflation rate, I could always want things over the years, but the reduction in landings has been negated by increase in prices. So during 2009, the landings over 2008 increased by 2.53%, but the center valuation 15%, and the retail center valuation increased by 14%, and the market efficiencies increased by 0.61%. So what does it mean? When the landing center valuation increases, it means that it is going to be good fishers. When the retail center valuation increases, it indicates that the difference between what a producer gets and what a consumer pays on the high. Now, the marketing efficiency, the fisherman share of consumers' rupee over the years is that of 100 rupees a consumer pay, only 65 rupees reaches the fishermen, and the rest 35 rupees goes either as marketing cost or marketing margin to the different intermediaries. This is a case of concern because value addition is high, and also the kind of utility improvement in the fish relatively appears to be lower, which is a growing case of concern even in FAO standards. So these are the valuation fair. The valuation is normally high in Gujarat on account of increased valuation in terms of retail center, quite high in Kerala because the unit prices of fish in Kerala, because it's a state where there's a conceived and known in supply, the prices with what the consumers pay. This is the market efficiency over the year. Now, if you put it totally in perspective, there are hurdles in mature fisheries. It could be overfishing. Many of the species, now we see that 44% of total species are being overfished. Huge targeted fishing. When you focus for targeted fishing, what the fish hole capacities aren't high. The number of are, when all these comes for target fishing, you will throw away the discards. Finally, you will come up with only those particular species which has got huge economic value. That's why we found issues like the fishing downtime. We have found species emerging, commercial species like the Lagosaphus enormis, that's a puffer fish, and also Odonis niger, which account for huge catch in this country. Now, overcapitalized and excess fleet capacity, we find that the number of boats are more in number, and again, newer boats are being constructed with subsidies of the government, which lead to excess fleet capacity, which lead where there are too many boats needing for too few fish, the catch per index is going to decrease. They're also having juvenile catches fish in economic losses. The juvenile catch example, sardine is normally being sold at 40 to 60. The number will go up to 120. 120 is allowed to grow more, probably going to have more fish weightage and more fish is available, as a result of which there are lots, and also for larger sizes the prices are going to be higher. And we have issues of lack of enforceable property rights regime, because we believe that the CMFRA believes that the fishermen right, the fish or the user rights as a primary stakeholder, fishermen, and migration to the opportunities is not interested to be in fishing, and also because of that there are many states, coastal states, which have demand. Distribution, the export, and we have come up to a figure for a period of 21 days that the total losses, there was no landing center valuation, and there is a huge number of people involved in the marketing network, either in terms of providing transport, value addition, there was a marketing loss, and most of the fish which which comes up during this part of the year goes into export. You might be knowing that around 10% of the total fish which is produced in the country is exported. So the total losses from all these sectors for 60 days it was worked out to be 25,000 tons, and if it is going to continue for 90 days, it's 30,000 crores. Now, our estimates were so important that we have given to the Ministry of Fisheries, and now many of the packages are being implemented by taking this as one of the major input during COVID. I thought climate change is one area where which are in the lower trophic, those are going to be improved. Now what we find is the mackerel which was used to be caught by the traditional sector, motorist sector, are now even found in the trawl, which indicates that these fishes have gone deeper. And pelagic, what we found was the point of origin, the epicures. Now sardine is being available even in the West Bengal, in Gujarat, in all these places are being found. So in general, the climate change goes like this. When there is a climate change, there is a move from southern latitude towards northern latitude, and also a movement from the west towards inland. So kind of distribution has happened because of that. This has improved. So the movement, the disadvantage being available in West Bengal is the people in West Bengal is going to eat. We are very happy. Okay, it has got the food. But what happens in the states where sardine is not being consumed? This kind of range shift or distribution shift often leads to a problem. For example, it could be bait, it could be a constant in the fish meal industry. So this creates huge revenue losses. On the other side, when these kind of fish starts moving from West Bengal to Kerala, then the cost of this price fish also improves, leading that this kind of fish becomes more costly in the case. For example, when I talk about sardine during 2010, at the real price it was just 40 rupees. Now the price is 260 rupees. Now you could think about what is the price of sardine in your area. And for a fish to move 5,000 kilometers, hardly costs 5,000 rupees, then probably you could know that what is the additional cost which has been in transport and also remember the quality. And also we have seen migration of fishes. Tuna started moving across, and the corals have become more and more vulnerable. The 13 beams, the Nemepia, Pendeli, and Japonicus, which used to breed, is breeding time towards this. The puffer fish, which used to be preyed by the sea fish, because of the increasing trophic levels, there has been changes, and these species, and now it's a commercially important species and also added into the export basket. Now, this is one case where we find the extension of, you see 1960s and 70s, you could see where sardine was available. Those are indicated by the different lines on the west coast, the distribution. So this kind of distribution was found to be important, but this hasn't improved the amount of sardine. Same sardine is being distributed across different geographical zones. So this is about sardine and mackerel, and also about the threatened breams. Now, it was important that we need to assess the vulnerability, how the fishermen are going to be affected. Now, I took the vulnerability model, which is an additive model with adaptive capacity. Use a formula called vulnerability is equal to exposure plus sensitivity minus adaptive capacity. We did this across under the Gulf project, which is an international project funded for attempts by the Belmont Forum and the G8 Council. And almost these 190 indicators, and based on which we found score, we get a 2.5 and 2.8, which indicates that we have got high vulnerability. The vulnerability on an open GIS quantum software, water individual household, grids, we get to know that what are the different houses, what is the kind of vulnerability, and this is based on exposure. Exposure cannot be changed. This could be the different events which are going to happen. It's at the social structure of the fishermen, how much they are vulnerable. And this is an area where we want to improve, which is known as adaptive capacity. Based on the adaptive capacity indicator, that you could see that there is a dark red line. These are areas where we are going to invest in the financial, social, and institutional capital, where we will try to improve adaptations. Now, the dictum which we found to understand from this is, climate change is global, but adaptation mitigations are going to be local, for which we have identified different community leaders as local self-government developing what is called the Cree-Van. As you know, we have Panchayati Raj. Likewise, under the climate change, we wanted to have what is known as a climate resilient village adaptation plan, where we linked up with the government, the society, and the individuals, and we were able to develop village climate information systems, climate communities, green fishing, and different adaptation mitigation plans were developed across East Beach villages under the area. And we identified four climate agents. It's quite difficult to do fisheries from the gamut of livelihood. So we thought that experienced fishers who has got huge interest in newer fish species, open sea cage culture, SHGs, youth, and also children who could act as climate agents in imparting literacy to the people. So also we wanted to know what is the productive side of climate change. Like Ladashana Madam was that there has been considerable losses. Carbon credits has been added, green fishing, blue economy. If you don't fish for 1 month, probably what is the additional biodiversity added? What is the additional biomass being improved? So likewise, we try to see in the event of climate change, for every 1 kilogram of carbon dioxide, 1 kilogram, 1 liter of diesel, 2.75 kilogram of carbon dioxide, we try to assess that what is the amount of carbon dioxide emitted under different sectors. The mechanized, the trawlers emit around 2.24 kilogram, whereas the motorized 1.46, and the diesel sector hardly emits carbon dioxide. This is because the amount of diesel usage found to be the major. So we understand that in the event of organic farming and in the event of carbon emissions under the Kyoto Protocol, when we are committed to reduce carbon dioxide emission, the traditional sector is going to have certified of carbon dioxide. So now with all these things in mind, how are we going to move about sustainable marine fisheries and what prevents us in not getting to where we want? I'm doing 5 more minutes or I'm stopped? Thank you. So we always meet people across FAO and talks that what is the problem between India and some of the developing. You talk about the Atlantic herring, the Alaskan pollock, the Peruvian anchovy. But India, what we have is we have kilometers. We have around active fishermen 0.9 million, but the total fishermen population in some of the temperate countries like Iceland is just 12,000. And see the contribution, labor productivity. Ton per fisher, whereas our fishermen hardly produce 2 So, since there are more people depend on it, multiple sector, multiple species, multiple flora, and different tropic large number of species, all makes our life miserable. And also, we have got diverse biodiversity. Some of the species, if I put a matrix between growth and fecundity, then I have got around 8 to 16 combinations now. Diverse life pattern, morphological characters. So this is what we exploit in terms. In India, we have around 1,000. In Indonesia, we got 2,500. But see some of these fisheries is well managed. You might know about the blue box under the W framework in countries like Luxembourg, in countries like Scandinavia, like Norway, they some are not fishing, whereas these are not possible where there are a large number of fishes. So if you see the fisheries governance, we have both in the union list as well as state list. Up to 12 nautical mile comes under this, whereas more than 12 nautical miles comes under the EZ. So we have got mostly open access and international classification. We still talk as small scale sector because of which we are not under the subsidy reduction bracket across the board. So there are input controls and output controls. The input restricted to reducing the number of fishing operations, it could be registration, license, fishing ban, MPAs, gear, and destructive fishing practices. Output controls, recently we did what is known as the minimum legal size, the protected species, and many other localized closed ban seasons across different states. And if you see what makes our life miserable, and catapulting this is the different kinds of agencies in the complex management. Now, if you see the land and the sea, the territorial waters where we have the FFR is into up to 200 nautical miles, we have got a maritime. different resources. And also we are having something which is known as PFZ, the potential fishing zones, which are given by the International Center for Ocean Fishing Services, which provides guidelines wherein we reduce the docking time, better fuel efficiency, improving value additions, the fish aggregating devices, and artificial reefs, sea landings, and we are lastly into what is known as sea farming or else the open sea cage culture. You remember that we have around 8,000. The depth is ideally suited for cage farming. And if we are going to harvest around 0.001%, that is 1 by 1000 of that area, which is going to produce around 3 to 5 lakh tons of fish in the future. So this has been one area where CMFRA was trying to do with a huge NFDB. We are into those things and we are trying to improve production in terms of sustaining production also. So the new fisheries management in fishery CMFRA has got a huge role was the National Marine Fishery Policy of 2017. This has been discussed and now it is going to be implemented as an ordinance with the Government of India. Now we also have what is known as the National Marine Fisheries Management Code in line with the most of the developed as well as well-managed fishing in tropical countries. We have the open sea mariculture policy. We have currently implemented the minimum legal size, which has indicated that better resources are being done. We also recently are into what is known as the fish market and price information system, which is the NFDB, where we are trying to identify the markets, the species, so that better dissemination happens between the marketers, the producers, and all. And also we are hugely into NICRA, that is National Innovations and Climate Resilient Agriculture, where we try to identify those particular species which could be climate resilient, and also in the process developing climate smart villages. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much for your informative presentation. Your valuable insights on marine capture fisheries, including economic and environmental perspectives, will definitely benefit the audience. Thank you very much, sir. So now we will hear from our today's last speaker, eminent speaker, Dr. Ranjit, scientist, Marine Biodiversity Division of ICR, Central Marine Research Institute, Thoothukudi Research Center. His research interests revolve around bio-inventing of fishes, ecology and conservation biology of fishes, the impact of fishing and exotic in the marine ecosystem, biodiversity loss and economic valuations, correlating the remotely sensed climatological data with fisheries biological data, resource and vulnerability mapping, and larval biology of cnidarians. He had deposited many marine specimens in the designated marine repository of the GenMat, and also he has published more than 32 peer-reviewed papers in national journals and several technical and popular articles. He also presented several papers in conferences and seminars, and he is specialized in aquatic environment management. Sir, please. Ranjit sir, please unmute, sir.
Hope I am audible to everybody. My slides are visible.
Yes, sir. Yes,
right? Yes, yes. Without taking too much time, just now it's almost lunchtime. Hope we will make it a little lively. And I first of all thank our organizers and our director and all our senior colleagues and our teachers for attending the program. So, in nutshell, almost most of the nutrient components of COVID impact in fisheries and the marine fisheries from cancer and all almost covered. I think what I'm going to present here is what our content. So my lecture content is like we go all the about coronavirus, what happens, like glance of the coronavirus, and what are the global impacts, what are mechanisms which are carried out common in fisheries. Finally, management measures at least our senior colleagues has been informed, and what is the some take home message, particularly in the terms of fishery and aquaculture food system. So all knows this coronavirus is basically it's an RNA virus, mostly the avian and marine mammalian species. Mostly this alpha and beta are mostly mammals and other delta and gamma birds. Mostly we have 7 human pathogens where mostly it exists in 2003 and now released in SARS-CoV-2 which is mostly from the unknown origin. We are in search of making. As the name indicates, the strong name indicates is the name of coronavirus, and in how it infects. Because generally coronavirus infect via this ACE and via then it replicate over the viral RNA, then it release to the leaves in users either through respiratory or any other forms, which is Then, what are the key words being used by the most searches validation in the term? Much are using the COVID-19, coronavirus, lockdown, India, biogeography. So these are the two size creation about usage in terms of keywords. Okay, fine. So then I was coming out with so what are the papers, the research which published in terms of environmental facts. You see, most of them are about the science and total environment, and one on current science, mostly about pollution of air pollution, then water pollution, air pollution, then some kind of space-based observation. Because nowadays it's also of technology, where we all are dependent on the space-based observation. So even our recent trends on this kind of environment-related papers is much on this science and total environment, and this work has been carried out in the COVID research. Okay, turning to the impact, happens to the impact of the environment. First, this is basically based on the carbon emission, then waste, wildlife, and the energy. I have got the information mentioned on the Vineja information where we have the waste management. If you see the waste type viewers, the waste collection workers are list, because mostly we are banning some kind of reusable bags are banned because it will be go, come back with many waste management techniques are taken. Similarly, I Italy there is an easy consumer spend on packaging and nuts. Okay, but we have there dump medical waste. There is an increase in dumping of medical waste nearly 200 tons per day. Okay, in terms of energy spending, which is US, most of the nearly 1.5 percentage of consumed by the data centers, because we are using much on the online system. Even our programs in going on visual mode, that online mode. So much of the information, the energy is spent through the data of digital platforms and the form of online games. Such kind of efficient happening. Similarly, one day cognition, in many other places, it's a decent, because this ultimately in terms of environment, we see COVID has a very positive impact on the carbon emission aspect. You see, almost in US, we are seeing 40% less in the domestic traffic, nearly 50% decrease in the carbon. That is much positive impact happened due to the COVID. Though we have much health impact, the nature recruiting capacity has been happened in the terms of wildlife, etc. So let me see the major impact of the environment. So when COVID gets impacted, the positive impacts are pollution, the decrease in the pollution, like NO2 particularly and the CO2. Then we have national recruiting capacity, which I told already. Then what are the major impacts on the environment? First thing is the temperature. You see, temperature depend on the temperature. The study conducted by the team, it indicates that where the temperature is the most impacted factor influencing the virus survival. You see that the survival will be more at lower temperature, nearly 4 degrees centigrade is a bit higher. But when we see that at in high temperature, the survival has been decreases. The study also states that we have in the Indians generally, we already all knows India has in terms of mortality, we are less, almost nearly only 3.4%. So due to this hot and humid climatic condition, we are generally we have general innate immunity against the coronavirus. Though in terms of population it is high, the numbers will be high, but we have an innate immunity, immune capacity against COVID-19. Then next, when we see the impact of the environment, there is a decrease in the emission. Generally, nitrogen dioxide is the major air pollutants in the industrial and vehicle operation. Due to the the lockdown, there is a huge drop in NOD emissions in many of the countries, including India, Italy, and China. when you can see the most of the slide given Bhattacharya, where there is a decrease in COVID, sorry, a decrease in nitrogen dioxide after the onset of lockdown. When we see the cities like that, where there is in cities like Mumbai and Pune and Ahmedabad, there is a decrease of 40 to 50% when compared to the previous year of March. We have many impacts aquatic environment because generally all the previous coronavirus come from bats and canals. This lake and river and pond environment, this bat has been major habitat because many insects they will get. So what study says that coronavirus is more, it is inactive faster in water because we see human condition is activated more. But when in compared to the watery condition, they inactivate very fast in the water environment. Similarly, it is very low stability to the chloride because that's the pH means sodium hypochlorite for disinfection and everything. In other times, it has been lower exposure. UV light has been decreasing the available load. Moreover, there is no much current evidence the impact whether the COVID coronavirus has been transferred to the drinking or surface waters unless it has been external influences. Similarly, there are studies shows that death has an impact over the soil because at higher mean temperature we don't have much temperature fluctuations. So death also plays an important role in the coronavirus load. And there is a study also, as I already told, there are many satellite-based studies where increase in NO2 and decrease in level of NO2. And similarly, the studies has been conducted in the Bengal Lake, where before and after lockdown, there is a decrease in level of many of the suspended particular matters such as particulate matters. There is a decrease of 15.9%. Similarly, the decrease in other compounds like nitrogen dioxide has been observed both in scientific conservation. So this COVID in terms of environment excluding the health, there has many positive impact on the natural environment. Then when we come to the animals, when we see animals, only few marine mammals, particularly coronavirus, other alpha and beta is mostly on this avians and humans. The gamma coronavirus has been infections, has been previously observed in some bottlenose dolphins and other whales. And there are some observations on aquatic biota also, where some other representative alpha coronas on association on aquatic biota. Then I was trying to find out what are the some scientific research studies carried out in the aquatic and the allied including fisheries. So when we see in terms of marine, we about the world government, this is based upon the world science input. We will have whatever coronavirus world exists, it reflects. So because the studies on marine fauna about the coronavirus, it played backs exist because it started almost in 2004 also. Because, so these are the major studies concerned with coronavirus. And when we see about the effect in mostly in recent years, we have the journals of coastal management, BMC, public health, frontiers in marine sciences. These are some of the top journals which has been publishing in the marine aspects, and some of the publication title has been given for reference. Then when we see the agriculture aspects, so there are literatures based upon the veterinary research, much on the veterinary research. We have some studies on it, and about agricultural aspects and studies. We have the recent publication of the Indian industrial seafood systems, agriculture and seafood. In industrial seafood system, at the moment there are studies on COVID impact, response, and the lessons of building research seafood system. Similarly, there are impact on COVID and US aquaponics, allied business, and there are studies on socio-economic aspects. So these are some of the major articles concerned with aquaculture and seafood. Then concerned with the fish. Fish also the studies has been carried out with the impacts in and we have some kind of genome life expression studies, laid backs in fish and shellfish immunology, and recent studies on COVID impact on some of the fish system. Coming to our fishery subject, as we have many publications related to fish and fisheries, starting from the pandemic scale, is concerned mostly on the periodic articles. There are many other articles concerned about the local republic that we'll be dealing with in a couple of slides. Some of the important pre-reviewed articles and even also recently published two articles on subchain management and pH-based fishing management also started in our then coming to COVID impact on fisheries. As I already told that fisheries resources are limited, invisible, and all are even Shamshar told in detail. So I am concerned about with what happens to the system, fishery system during the lockdown and unlocked time, particularly focusing on the Tamil Nadu state. So when we see the lockdown, there is a four types of lockdown, and we have unlocked. Initially, in the government organization, it is not coming under the essential service. Then a fisherman has having influence to the state officials. Then finally, government has released Geo on 23.3, where production and transportation of fish and swim feed and other inputs related quarantine activities, marketing of fishery and fishery products are exempted for restriction of imports in the coronavirus spread. Then we are coming with concern on the fishing activities. As Madam also showed, Madam also showed this, the general fishing activities has been decreased during the COVID period. Then what are the major impacts in the fisheries? Generally, the fish are highly traded commodity, nearly 38% entering the international trade. When due to COVID, there is initial stage, there is a disruption in both the domestic and supply chain, where many people cannot sell the harvest due to large quantities and difficulty in maintaining of quantity in fishes and difficulty in doing some kind of seasonal breedings, and there are many difficulties in supply chain of fish market from the landing center aquaculture farms to the end users, and because there are many limited availability of labor input in the terms of fisheries. So what are in terms of management causes, because many assessments surveys has been affected, like fish assessment surveys conducted with many of the organizations including CMFI, and then obligatory some fishery related programs has been suspended, and program to science management committee has been suspended. So that even lack of monitoring effect due to UU has been increased. So there are we became more with many of the things. COVID impact has been response to that. We have come out many of the couple of suggestions, and there's a few other points already dealt by our senior colleagues. Literally, we see the fishing, it is affected both the artisanal and industrial sector, and the day-to-day earnings of fisher has been affected, and the limited supplies of ice there has been reduced, and we have, Madam was telling about that migrant workers, there is short of acute staff due to the lockdown effect. Many migrant workers were affected, and many small fishers, including the vendors, has been affected, and the storage species has been hugely similarly in terms of ice plant, and the digital construction system, daily losses has been lost. And there are maintenance and boat engines maintenance and other activities has been logged due to the impact. So then, what are the positive impact in fisheries? There are many signs and improvement in the evidences on fisheries because we are enriching fishing craft. Naturally, if there is stress into the environment, naturally the resource has been replenished little faster. And moreover, the changes in the target picking market strategy in line with the demand. Because mostly we are concerned with as there is mostly we have local consumption happen that COVID impact and many other features according to the market. Similarly, the processes, marketers and traders are urging demand and more importantly, the English is not the person more made to very scientific things and scientific managerial things and this kind of things to digital tools. And in addition, we are telling the impacts. There is a shadow on fisheries, increase in impact on EU, increase in healthcare, markets, if you see the policy science, there is a reduce in fishing pressure in science, food sharing within community, food market has been established. There is a good collaboration with the government and the communities, and safeguarding the livelihoods and the so, bonds has been taken in the fisheries management. What they are doing is their practice, they have done that the rotational fishing pattern because some of the fishing gears has been given token type of system. They give alternate type of alternate type fishing extra. And similarly, they are also monitoring harvesters. They are nominating certain for monitoring whether they are by giving identity whether they are following COVID precautionary measures, etc. And they are already doing restriction on number of boats for allowing fishing because they give token for someone say 100 boats today and next set of 100 boats more. Such kind of restriction also doing with the state fisheries department and there are some kind of financial COVID the one time 2 times release implement of rupees 1,000 to each fisherman and for giving vendor pass for sale because for the fish vendor they are giving some kind of bargain system for selling say the catch. Similarly, in all the fishing harbors, they do some kind of thermal scanning the entry and the system for fish transport. And other even in many other places there are migrants food and for sustenance and for going back to their hometown. They are doing certain arrangements. There are only so they told the release fund, general release fund for Pradhan Mantri state government, central government has anything on the this. So there are some of the snapshot list in Tamil where there is some difficulty that they do some kind of rotational type of fishing. They are they have display boats that what type of fishing.
Please wait. Due to some technical problem, is disconnected. Please wait for 1 minute. Hello, Ranjit sir. Sir, please unmute.
Yeah. Is it? Is it good? Hello?
Hello, sir.
Am I visible now?
Sir, now it is visible, sir. Now it is coming.
Okay. Okay, so see, particularly in my district, so the migrant business West Bengal who has been returned back to the home. And then sort of response to the Tamil Nadu Fisheries Department, many fishermen has told we can go through this but they had for decreasing the fishing ban period in both the east and west coast, and many of the protocols as well met Minister has been followed in the department, and we they have even we have to kind of walk through certain kind of important information to immediate sharing of information to the fishermen. And there are many impact studies on fisheries. I think first one by the FAO by the impact on COVID and fisheries and aquaculture. Similarly, some many impact on the COVID pandemic by the COVID studies. There are many virtual conference and on everything at the post lockdown. These studies by the bodies, the feedback, and many of the institutes and doing the capacity. They're also giving the studies of fishermen. CFP are also giving the district of fishermen to different aspects of language difference, and fishing and even the doing some kind of policy document on the streamline the supply chain of marine fisheries in Kerala, and there are the GS based land and marine in SSR also things the policy based on related COVID response. And this is what I would like to our government as a Western participant will have been made to provide a corona. There should not be contact with the payments this time period. Our state has proactive on this kind of chief measures. We are very that PM's announced that they better control centralized funding and some newspaper things on on fact it's there. No, it's not. It's
No, sir, it is breaking.
audible. I'm sorry, I'm only. Is it okay?
Now it is okay, little bit, sir.
Okay. There are many peacekeepers and even these are the landings near by Tuticorin where fisher personals are taking social distance and
You are not audible, sir.
now it's audible.
Now it is okay.
It's audible now.
Now it is audible.
Hello. I'm sorry for here tower. There's some problem is there. So
Participant, please wait for a minute because some network issues are there. So is again disconnected. Maybe few more slides are left out. Please wait for a few minutes. Dear participant, maybe later on we will share his slides because due to some network issue he is unable to join again in the meeting. Only 2-3 slides are left out, so we will communicate his presentation to all the participants and to you. So I again thank Dr. Ranjit L for his nice presentations and he's combined so many research in the current scenario to derive a meaningful conclusion in this, and which is very relevant also with the theme of this webinar. So now I'll request Dr. Supratim Chowdhury, Associate Professor, Department of Fish Processing Technology, Faculty of Fishery Sciences, to present the vote of thanks. Sir, please.
Shutanu, can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Audible, sir.
So good afternoon to all. It's really unfortunate that we could not finish off the last few slides of Dr. Ranjit. But since we have already spent over 3 hours on this excellent seminar, so I will be having the privilege of presenting you the vote of thanks on behalf of the organizing committee. So to start with is our chief patron, Professor Chanchal Guo, the Honorable Vice Chancellor of WBFS. He has been associated with this university for quite a long time with an immense experience, and over the past I think 6 months we have found that he has been participating with us in every webinars that has been conducted on our behalf. Okay, I will just stop because I think Dr. Ranjit is back online. Maybe we can listen to him before we give the vote of thanks. Chutano?
Okay, sir, but I could not communicate him. Ranjit sir, can you hear me, sir? Ranjit sir, can you hear me, sir? Yes, sir, you are audible now.
Okay.
Sir, you would be able to present, sir?
I came to the last, where it was stopped, I am sorry.
The last few slides are left out. If you can show the slides, we can confirm it.
Hello, somebody can respond, please.
Sir, unmute yourself, sir. Not audible, sir.
I'm sorry for this. Yes. So now
Coming, sir, but it is breaking in between.
okay. No, I conclude. So that's the take home message. Is audible?
Yes, sir. Please, sir.
Okay, ma'am. This was telling about the importance of the fishery and aquatic food systems. So there is not much infection, direct infection more to aquatic systems. Only precaution has to be taken in handling of the landing center and doing the seafood from the food industry all. And similarly, the health of the human is the health of the
Sir, your audio is not audible. Your voice is not audible clearly, sir. Okay, dear participant Ajit, and he is in a remote place, so it is difficult for him to manage now. Past few minutes, if he could manage with good. Will share definitely. He will share his slides to the participants. He will allow it. So I just talked with him. Now I will request Dr. Supratim Chaudhary to please present the vote of thanks.
Thank you, Supanu. So we tried our best to have Dr. Ranjit online and present his rest of the slides. We're really sorry because we have so much network interferences for which we could not do it. So it is quite clear that what COVID has done to us, how much we tried to bring us ourselves together. Till it will take a lot of time before we can actually be together. So that is what makes this particular webinar a very relevant one, and that is pointed out by everyone, including our patron, the chief patron, our vice chancellor, sir, including our director of research, farm and extension, Professor Onassis Goswami, the dean, Professor Vipul Kumar Das, and our registrar, Dr. Saurabh Chandra. I thank all of them for being a part of the webinar during the inaugural sessions. Today we had some of the very eminent speakers with us, which includes the ADG Inland Fisheries of ICR New Delhi, Dr. BP Mohanty, a very dynamic person and who has been involved with our institute for a long time, giving us guidance. And today also we found him really very inspiring, particularly giving a special mention on the Pradhan Mantri Matsya Sampad Yoजना and how we can actually revive the situation of fisheries in the country through retailing and e-commerce in future. And we have with us another stalwart, Dr. Lata Senoy, who is a former principal scientist of Fisheries Resource Harvest and Post-Harvest Division, ICRC-IFE. As usual, as her books speaks, she's outstanding today also, clearly mentioning that ratio with 85% of workforce working in marine sector will definitely be the most affected in the world. And it is the APs that can help us to revive the situation back in the harvest and post-harvest scenarios. And then we had with us Dr. Sham S. Salim, the principal scientist from ICRC MFRI Kochi, who also pointed out very specifically the fluctuating situations due to the COVID-19 situation, the fluctuating situations in the catch due to COVID-19 situations. And last and not the least, we had with us Dr. Ranjit. And I thank each one of them, and special thanks to Ranjit because Dr. Ranjit, because he has been trying so hard to get in touch with us back in spite of such a poor network situation out there where he is there. I thank you very much. I thank to all our speakers today for their insight into the subject, into the topic. Thank you, everyone. Now, with this webinar, what makes this webinar very special is, of course, the participants who have joined from different parts of the country, from different universities, and it covers the faculty members to scholars to SMS from KVAs to farm managers, and even some of the officers from the Department of Fisheries, Government of West Bengal. The spark in this webinar is, of course, the entrepreneurs who have joined from Aquamarine, Junaqua, Adia Dairy, CP Aqua, and several others. There has been some BPMs or block technology managers who has been a part of this webinar as well. We had participation from not only WBFS, that is Aguda University, but also from Matsu Nagpur. We had participation from College of Fisheries, Mangalore. We have from Kolkata and IIT Kharagpur, Kolkata University, Jadavpur University, Central Agriculture University, Imphal, from Ratnagiri, from Doon PG College, Meghalaya, and MGR Fisheries College. We had participation from TNJFU, Tamil Nadu, Eskusat, Jammu and Kashmir, as well as College of Fisheries, Veerabal, and from Ayodhya as well as from Kufos, Junagadh, Centurion University, Navsari, and Gadvasu. It's a huge participation. I probably left out some of the names because it is really overwhelming that so many participants from different parts of the country have joined us today. We had a very veteran participant also, Dr. Firoz Bhatt, who has been, I watched him participating in every webinar we have been conducting from WBFS. Thank you, sir, also for participation today. And finally, let us come to the organizing committee, who are not the least because they have this committee has been working around the clock to make this webinar a grand success. Special thanks for Chairman Professor Somen Sahu, who has been an inspiration over the period of time, and of course the coordinators, Shukunu Karmakar, Somodi Purkat, and Alokpriya Vishwas, who has played the major role in curating today's program. And thanks to Prasenjit Mali, who has been a member of this committee and who has also guided us through this process. So with that, I will not take much time because we have already covered over 3 hours and 20 minutes of a beautiful session, and I hope everybody reached with it. I thank you, everyone, every participant of this webinar. Thanks a lot. Shukran.
So now we'll play the national anthem, and if it's possible, wherever you are, you can stand, and you may pause the video also, but with the stand, we'll play the national anthem, and with the national anthem, we'll close today's webinar.
अधिनायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता पंजाब सिंध गुजरात मराठा द्राविड उत्कल बंगा विंध्य हिमाचल यमुना गंगा उच्चल जलधि तरंगा तव शुभ नामे जागे तव शुभ आशीष मांगे गाहे तव जय गाथा जन गण मंगल दायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता जय हे जय हे जय हे जय 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 हे
Thank you all. So we can now with the so, so
Thank you. Now we conclude our program. Thank you, everybody.
feedback link will be shared to all the participants through email and the instruction will be provided there. Thank you.